Taylor Swift and the fact that she is self-publishing her first book under her own publishing imprint, it does not mean anything for publishing. It's first of all not like groundbreaking. So, yes, Taylor Swift is self-publishing her new book. No, it will not make any difference in the publishing industry whatsoever. Let's just start off right there. In case this is your first time here, my name is Kern Carter. I am an author. I've written about 4 novels, and I just love writing. I've been writing since I was 8 years old. So my second love, though, or one of my other passions, is really talking about pop culture and putting pop culture together with publishing. And that's what Writers Are Superstars is all about. I have a newsletter with the same name. The videos I make when I put together publishing and pop culture, we call them Writers Are Superstars, and here we are. And today we are talking about Taylor Swift and the fact that she is self-publishing her first book under her own publishing imprint and what that actually means for publishing. And this video is going to be a quick one. I'm just letting you know right now because it does not mean anything for publishing. People have been self-publishing books for a long time. It's not new, so we'll just start with that. Taylor Swift is a movement on her own, so I understand why people are making a big deal out of it, why I'm reading pieces and posts with people saying that this is, going to change publishing in this way, or it's going to change publishing in that way, or these are the things that publishers should look out for. Publishers are probably upset that, Taylor Swift is self-publishing, but at the end of the day, publishing will move on. Taylor Swift, this moment will pass. Taylor Swift will probably sell a good number of books. As far as I've understood it, I think it's essentially like a picture book. Not when I say picture book, I mean a collection of all the images from her tour with a little bit more insight that she'll write about, I'm sure. But it's first of all not like groundbreaking in the production of it and in the presentation of it. But the other piece I think that we need to keep in mind is seeing celebrities publish books, or just because a celebrity publishes a book doesn't mean that the book is actually going to be successful, self-published or not, superstar or not. We've seen this happen very recently with Billie Eilish when she published her book and only sold 60,000 copies to her 100 million fans in the first 8 months. We've seen it happen with Justin Timberlake. Lots of celebrities like that have published books and not have success. Justin Timberlake sold 100,000 books, but it took him 3 years to sell that. Piers Morgan, who's this basically this online personality, more on the conservative side, who's actually very popular, millions of followers on social media, sold, I think, just over 5,000 copies of his book. There's no guarantee, because here's the thing that I think, 2 things that I think that celebrities miss when they actually publish their book. And the first thing is your fans and readers are 2 very different people. Keep that in mind. People who read books and people who come to your shows or come watch your movie or your premiere or whatever, they are not the same. They don't have the same habits. Like just because they come to your show and pay good money to come to your show, or well, you don't have to pay money really to stream an album, but just because they do that doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to spend money to buy a book. It does not work like that. Reading a book is a whole different thing, and getting people to buy books is a whole different thing. So right away, we need to separate that. Fans are not readers. The second thing I think that celebrities forget to do is actually promote their books, and promote it heavily as they would like one of their tours or like an album drop or something like that, like a new album. I think they really forget about that part. A lot of people with Billie Eilish didn't even know she had a book coming out. My daughter was following her pretty heavy back then, and we didn't know that she had a book coming out at all. So the promotion of it, I think you can't skip that just because you're a celebrity, just because you have a built-in audience, just because your social media followings in the millions, doesn't mean that you don't have to get out there and promote. Again, people who want to read books are much different than people who want to just come to your shows. So you have to put in that work. And even to your fans, you have to prove to them why they would want to actually go ahead and buy that book. Are they getting something totally new? Again, sticking to Billie Eilish, I remember at that same time that she had her book come out, she also had 2 documentaries out. She was putting out a lot of content that actually gave insight into her life already. So the book was not something, in my opinion, was not something so new and so dynamic and so fresh that her fans were going to jump all over it. So that was another reason she probably didn't sell as much as she should. So the promotion of it is vital. And I think there are two books that do a good job. I'll talk about two celebrity books that do a really good job of executing what I just spoke about. So the one I'll talk about is The Creative Act by Rick Rubin. Now, first of all, I've read that book. The book is actually really good. It's really well done. And I've watched some interviews with him where he said he really took his time and went back and forth. He didn't want to just put out a book. So he really took his time and wrote the book. But the thing that Rick Rubin did is Rick Rubin promoted the heck out of this book. He is, if you know Rick Rubin, he is a hermit. He doesn't go outside. He doesn't do interviews. He just makes music, like produces music. And he's done. He stays inside. He does not come out very often. But when his book came out, which was his first book, I believe, he was out there. He was on every podcast. He started his own podcast, right? Like he even started an Instagram page. Like he went in. He really, really, really dedicated himself to the promotion of it. And for someone like him who was not into promotion previously, like him promoting himself, I mean, that was a big step, but someone probably got in his ear in a positive way and said, hey, if you really want this book to have an impact, here's what you need to do. And he listened. And the Creative Act has sold almost 1 million copies since it came out last January. I think it's up to like close to 800,000 copies sold. That is how you do it as a celebrity. Like that's what it takes. So yes, again, Taylor Swift, do your thing. I'm actually a fan. So I hope she does well and everything. But as far as it affecting anything in publishing, it's not going to. As far as it changing anything for self-publishing, it's not going to. People are self-publishing books like for a long time. People are successfully authors. I mean, like actual authors, not celebrities, have been self-publishing books for quite some time and doing it well. So that's nothing's going to change with that. And publishers certainly aren't looking at an extreme example like Taylor Swift and thinking that that's going to have any effect on the way that they do their day-to-day business. So just want to talk about that real quickly. Make sure you subscribe if you really like talking about publishing and pop culture and how those things intersect. Subscribe to this channel because that's all I talk about. Sometimes I'll talk about my books, because I do have a bunch and I do love writing and novel writing is my thing. But I also like talking about pop culture, so I think that'll be more interesting. So check out the channel, subscribe. I also have a newsletter called Writers Are Superstars. Also, it's on Substack. So go subscribe to that if you prefer writing. And yeah, just let's get into it.